Hi, I'm Jill Novak, and I'm here today with Meghan Vornholt. Meghan and I have been having some conversations offline about this season right now and how it feels like this season there's a lot of really heavy expectations on us. And right now we've taken those expectations and we've just crushed them. So, Meghan, just talk to that for a minute. What is that doing to us?
Yeah, I think from what my own experience and conversations with others, there's a lot of loss of maybe traditions and the expectations we had around those traditions. Not being able to see family members at this time when sometimes that's the only time of the year we see them. And yeah, not to mention all the other maybe expectations that may have been held with jobs and economy and all these kind of things. There's a lot of it feels like a shaky ground in some ways, I think, for what we're moving into right now. And it's creating new foundation and new anchor point for us to move through not only this holiday season, but into the new year and beyond, with a hopeful sense of a new normal instead of getting stuck in what we can't do or can't have right now.
Yeah, it does feel like that, doesn't it? Like right now, there's something that we have to sort of hold up and look at and choose to change. It's almost like choosing to let go of some stuff, choosing what's really important, and figuring out how to value that more, or how to put it more center. But I like what you said about anchor points. Like that's been essential in sort of all the things that I'm creating, is how do I create those anchor points? Yeah. And it's even hard. Both of us have been talking about how we're not even teaching yoga the way we used to teach it. So our own anchor points have been we've just been responding and trying to change and adapt to how we can still deliver this stuff that we think is so just essential for our well-being right now. So you were telling me about kind of 3 specific things you have coming up, and I want you to share with me about the preparing for the holidays one that's really soon on the 12th.
Yeah. So that's going to be a discussion focused around our wellness during holidays. It could be applied to any holiday, but particularly around this winter holiday season and this new time that we might find ourselves in. So we're going to be discussing really just the fact that we come together in a group of people to be able to voice our thoughts and feelings around some of this stuff is really crucial in this time of, isolation, which a lot of people are facing right now. We don't thrive as human beings in isolation. So just being able to acknowledge and validate what we're going through individually and collectively is a big part of the offering, as well as we'll look at some things you could consider to support your well-being throughout the holidays and beyond. So
it's almost like we whenever you're in the yoga world and you're hosting something, it's like you're hosting it because you need it so badly, as well as understanding that everyone else needs it so badly. I understand that. You're also sort of known in our community for something called somatic release, and I use somatic release a ton in yoga therapy. And you have a somatic release class coming up as well. Can you, December 19th?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So thanks. I am honored to be known for hosting this workshop. The work has been really profound in my own life, and I've seen it, as we shift things in our body, we shift things in our mind and then our life. And so the great thing about this work is we can go into the body without needing to know the story behind it. The mind, you kind of circumvent the mind and all the stories that it makes up. And you can complete the cycle. You can release stress from your body and create a new neural pathway. So it's an embodied practice. Throughout the COVID times, I've been offering it as an online option, and we've always had 2 or 3 people join us online. And given the new restrictions that we have, it's all going to be online. So I just ask people to, be comfortable with their camera so that we know where you are and I can guide appropriately. And so, it's about releasing. It's a specific sequence of postures to release, particularly in the psoas muscle. We hold a lot of our...
which is the hip flexor, for those of you who are wondering, psoas.
Yes, thank you. And so we hold a lot of our unprocessed emotions there. And so we give ourselves the space, a safe space to work this out of the body so that it can also be worked out of the mind and the emotional body. So it's a release. That's what's called yogic somatic release. And it gives us a new point to start from to move forward. It doesn't mean that you can do it once and everything's magically going to shift, but it gives us an opportunity for self-study, which you and I have talked about yoga being so beneficial for us. It gives us an opportunity to get to know ourselves better, body, mind, and heart, and be able to make some shifts to move forward. And I do offer that monthly. So even if we aren't able to practice in person, I'll still offer it online.
And that's what I was going to say. I find the same with yoga therapy is that it's not about doing it once. It's about kind of making it a practice in your life to come back and see where you're at. Because that's what somatic release does. That's what yoga therapy does. It's like this opportunity to sort of do a check-in with yourself. Yes. And sometimes you get this sweet little like unraveling where it seems to always be going in a good direction. And then sometimes it's like you've just unraveled this big layer and it's all good and everything feels nice. And then you hit the next layer. So it is a practice that it's like coming to your mat. Just come once a month and allow yourself to let go of whatever the body is next able to release. Yeah. Because you only release what your body feels safe to let go of. If it feels like it needs something, it's still going to contain it. So it's not like you can just hit the mat in one somatic release and you're fit.
Everything's, exactly. And like you said, we have layers. I think it was, in Shrek, he said, ogres are like onions, while so are humans. We have layers.
Exactly.
And so once we feel safe enough to notice and maybe shed one layer, then we go to the next when we're ready. And sometimes we have this kind of in-between phase where we're not even sure where we are in the layers. We're just kind of there, and we're not hitting anything. Hitting anything that makes us cry. Like we're not hitting that next layer of the onion that makes the tears start to water, but we're just kind of floating in the middle between the two, and that's okay too. And so not having expectations of our practice that, sometimes it's going to be this big, release, and other times it's like, oh, okay, that was interesting. It is what it is, right?
Well, and you and I just had that conversation offline today about how today isn't necessarily feeling like the most upbeat and solid day. Like it's feeling a bit like you and I are in the middle of this whole shift as well. We're experiencing it along with everyone else. And we're trying to figure out our own sort of systems for moving through it. It's just that we have at our hand these tools of yoga that we keep being able to draw on. Yeah. And that makes it even, for me, I think I speak for both of us when we say it just makes you even more passionate about wanting to share it with other people because you understand the value that it's giving you in this time. One more thing I want to talk about, and that is this idea of the reflection and setting intentions. And I know both you and I have a workshop coming up. Mine is in 2 days and it's only a morning, like sort of short thing, but you do a whole day one. And I've been following you since you used to offer this at the yoga studio in Calgary on New Year's Day. And so this year it's online and it's January 2nd. And kind of, again, something that you're a little bit known for this day. So tell me about it.
Yeah, again, it's nice to get people together in community, and that give yourself a time that you can be intentional around reflection and intention. So giving ourselves the space, we will do some yoga practice in that day to get into our bodies and be present and noticing what the body is telling us, because again, we can do a lot of self-study on our mats. And then just being able to just take some time for yourself to note and reflect things like what went well, what take some time to celebrate the things that you've accomplished in the year. And even if that is just like that, you're still standing, because it feels like we've just been hit with shitstorm after shitstorm, but you're still on the other side.
Usually when you're done doing it, you can come up with something a little bit better than that for what you do well. Even though it feels like going in, that's going to be your big celebrations that you're still standing. Usually when you go in, it's like there's something else in there that you can be really proud of.
Yeah. And I think it's important. We live in a society that almost, I find, sometimes tells us not to celebrate our things because we don't want to be too arrogant or whatever. But I mean, it's important because we also have a lot of critical voices that stop us from, tell us all the things we do wrong. So we have to balance out the two and notice that we are doing a good job. And that's part of being self-compassionate, which is the big focus. So we'll be doing a couple yoga practices and a meditation throughout the day. And then also looking at setting intentions for the year ahead. There's so much different ways that people approached goal setting or intention setting, or just crafting and architecting your life. And it doesn't have to, it can be whatever it feels like for you. So we're going to look at the language around that, because some people see goals and they're like, that's a scary word. Some people will automatically self-sabotage. Some people will take on way too much and way too big of a thing that they're not even setting themselves up for success. So we're going to really break down the psychology and the system and the support to do that.
That's always where I find that your brilliance comes into your yoga teaching, is that you always come in from that really solid mental health background, educator background, because that's where you come from in your chronology. So I really always appreciate that about what you can bring to your offering. Thanks, Megan. I think that this is really important stuff. I think that it's really essential right now that these are the things that we're investing in, and we're understanding that when we invest in ourselves, we're investing in the people we love as well. Because if we can figure out how to be a little bit stronger, peaceful, more relaxed, anchored, but with that nice foundation underneath us, then it really does support us. So MeghanVornholt.com is where you have all the details.
Yeah, I've got all the workshops posted there right on the homepage, or you can go to the events calendar. Everything's on Eventbrite too, if you look me up as the organizer. And I have a Facebook page as well. If you like that medium instead, it's all available, whichever way you go in.
Okay, MeghanVornholt.com, and it's MEGHANVORNHOLT.com.
Yes.
Thanks, Megan.
Thanks for the chat, Jill.